इसका
हो गया ना. Good morning, friends. Today again we are back to share my experiences with the rubrics related to the mind in a different repertories. I was speaking about the Kent repertory. Now there is a very much controversial understanding about the rubrics of the mind that is available in the Vonneguten's repertory. Therapeutic pocket books, I mean to say. When you go to the therapeutic pocket books, there are only few chapters, few rubrics, with a smaller number of the medicines and a smaller number of the medicines. And with both these phenomena, when you compare it with the Kentian repertory, one thought comes to us that whether Dr. Vonnegutten had not given any preference for the mental symptoms. He only had the understanding about the general symptoms. Because the construction, these are the thoughts. And whether it is of the Vonnegutten, I would not tell him, but we used to think like that. But when you go into the life of the Dr. Vonnegutten, you will find that his entry into the homeopathy was also a great chance. Basically, he was a lawyer and natural agricultural and farming and plants, and these were the basic field where earlier, before entering into the homeopathy, Dr. Vonnegutten has failed. He has very little approach about the spiritualistic phenomena, like the common man. But after getting cured with some of his problems with the single homeopathic medicines prescribed by a homeopathic himself, Dr. Henneman, he became influenced with him, his understanding, and he started learning, and he was deeply engrossed into the Hennemanian thoughts. So his first guru in homeopathy was Dr. Henneman itself, and with his guidance, his basic, whatever he developed, whatever he conceived, he tried to make a practical use of the Hennemanian informations. Now, this is the practical, the theoretical information that is there in the Organon of Medicines and lesser writings and several other books has to be tried to be put into the language, put into the practice with the application of some of the system, and he was regarded as the father of the repertory. Now, with these backgrounds, what do you feel when you think about Vonnegutten? Whether he deviated from the Hennemanian principle by not adding the mind into the rubrics, or he ignored the mind completely? These are the things which people used to think about the Dr. Vonnegutten's approach. Basically, he was the ardent follower, and every writings are very much in symmetry with the Hennemanian thoughts. His concept of the grand generalizations is a great contribution, and the purpose and the philosophy behind the grand generalization is that to generalize, to see the person as a whole and through the symptoms. So he tried to compile only general symptoms into the therapeutic pocket books. Only general, and whatever were related to the particular, he tried to convert them into the general rubrics. So with these aspects, he was very much successful with the physical part of the repertory. from right from the head to the foot. He was very much successful. He divided the symptoms according to the three level: location, sensation, modality, concomitants. Okay. So now with these things phenomena, this was the basic concept of Dr. Construction behind the therapeutic pocketbooks. And he had very little guidelines and understanding about the mental, how to convert the mental symptoms into the general symptoms, and which symptoms has to be included. For this, it was becoming almost impossible for him. And so, this is one idea. Then another idea is that his writings on the characteristics value of symptoms, where he gave you the 7 verses, that is called the hexameter for selection of the totality of the rubric, and among that, the quiz is the prominent. What is the meaning of the quiz? Quiz is the personality, the change. So who has come? Who is the patient? And this usually happens in our mind. When a patient comes to our clinic, who has come to my clinic? This is the basic things that at first come. Then when we know that he must have come for some support or help from us for his problem related to the sickness. So what is the problem? This man has got what is the problem, and then we used to think where is the problem and what else are associated with the problem and why the problem is there. So this makes the completeness of the totality. So with these thoughts, when you think about the personality, the man as a whole, do you feel that the man is reflected or in the scene can be understood only by seeing the physical body? Suppose I say that a person has got one nose, 2 ears, 2 eyes. These are the physical appearances. And 2 hands, you will not be able to find it out. But when you know that this man is very angered, this man is very fearful, this man is like this or that, then you come closer to that man. So only with the mental aspects, one can come closer to the human life. Okay, you got me? So you will come closer to the human life. So arriving at the person as a whole, we have to primarily look for the mental features of the patient. And this is the place from where you can distinguish one person from the another. Because so many problems are there. We have the hepatitis, we have the cancer, but how you are going to distinguish the cancer of one person with the another person, hepatitis of one person with the another person's? You might have read in the practice of medicines about the descriptions, the symptomatology of the tuberculosis, cancer, all these things are there. And you draw a basic concept, wider concept about the tuberculosis, about any of the disease. But when you sit into the clinic, it is usually, it becomes very difficult to find it out and distinguish that whether this cancer is like that or not, whether it is cancer or not. Because appearance of the cancer and appearance of the simple abscess or the sore seems to be similar. But what is the differences between these things? So this distinction is very much impossible when you have the understanding about the situations, problems, and the Hahnemannian understanding of the life. So with all these aspects, it is very much true that Dr. Bonhoeffer, in spite of his inspiration from Dr. Hahnemann, was unable to find a proper rubrication of the mental symptoms. So, and this is one aspect. Another aspect is that during the time of the Bonning Essence and the basic features of the Bonning Essence life, his understanding about the mind was very poor. This is one thing, very poor. He is not so much aware about the psychology. And he was the first man to come up with the repertory. So he has to create everything, something from his scratch, from the beginning. And this beginning aspect is very important. And so what he did, when you go into the introductions of this book, it is clearly mentioned that first you see the patient from the general symptoms, and then you go for the medicines coming out from it. You have to compare it with the mental features of this. So mental for the comparison, mental for the individualization is necessary according to the Bonning Essence. So he has never ignored, and only because the generalizations of the anger, generalizations of the fear was not so much possible for him, so he has not. Whereas the understanding of the Bonning Kent was something different. He was, before entering or coming into the homeopathy, his basic understanding for the philosophy was great. He was very much influenced by the Swedenborgian philosophy. He was very much aware about the spirituality, which was lacking in the Bonning Essence life. But only because of the experiences and his understanding about the usefulness of the homeopathy, he adopted the homeopathy. So this is the difference between the Kentian life and the Bonning Essence life. So Kent has got very easy conception for the mental rubrics, and so he expanded the Lippage work on the mind chapter into the great chapter. Whereas in the Bonning Essence chapter, it could not be done because of the limitations of the experiences, limited understanding about the mind. But it is not meant that Dr. Bonning Essence had ignored the mind. He has got the basic classifications. When you have to know the medicines, you have to know the mind of that person. This is very much important for according to the Bonning Essence. And yet in every of his writings, you go to the lesser writing of Dr. Bonning Essence, then you go to the other literatures related to the Bonning Essence, you will find that Dr. Bonning Essence was very much quite sure about the importance of the mind, but mind inclusion and making it the practical part, because of the, it was not possible for him to include the mind chapter into the, or expand the mind. He simply took some of the rubrics which were, it seems to be general in nature, and that is included in the Bonning Essence repertory. So with these thoughts, you must have, when you are using the therapeutic pocket books, you must have to think that analyzing the symptoms firstly on the basis of the general symptom, and then deciding about the medicines will come from the mental symptoms. So from general to the mind, general to the mind, he said prime importance to the general. Why? The first attraction, first attempt has to be seen as a man, and while trying to see the problem, the patient used to come with the problem, and they think about the problem only, and they will not tell you the details. But when you go into the details of the problem, you will find the general and common things that is there in there. He may have the pain in the head, which was getting better by cold. He may have the pain in the extremities, which is getting by cold. So everywhere it is getting by cold. And that's why he had the idea that the cold aggravates better by the pain, cold is better by the cold applications became the general symptoms, because it is representing the man at the physical level, So you first see the general parts, and then you go to the, suppose you get after repatriations, you go 3 or 4 medicines. It will be very easier for you to consult a Maitre Medica, but every Maitre Medica, Dr. Bonny-Hussens has collected those symptoms from the Maitre Medica, and every Maitre Medica have got the mental chapters in each of the medicines. Mental chapter in each of the medicines. So with these concepts, the Bonny-Hussens has got the great regard and great respect for the mind. And with this words, he says mind has to be looked separately, instead of coming, because mind cannot, seems to be generalized. You may see that anger to be the general, but when it is anger, it is general. Mind is anger to be the general symptoms, but when it is general, when it is found in common, it is a common thing that we all get anger. But if a person gets angered with the contradictions, patient gets angered with certain qualities, modalities, then it becomes very specific. And these aspects are very difficult with the generalized. And these aspects were the initial thoughts that you can have to keep in mind before you use the Bonny-Hussens therapeutic pocket books. No doubt, Bonny-Hussens therapeutic books have been the first presentations which became the most popular in repertory during that area. Everyone was excited. Yeah, we have now reached to the Hahnemann through the Bonny-Hussens. Why? Because it was very simplified way to have the general. Because you don't have to think about the particular, you have to think about the general, and that's what it was. So it is not the criticism. It is not the thoughts that can be criticized. It is the thoughts that has to be understood properly for understanding the Bonny-Hussens ideas, philosophy, and the concept. He gradually entered into the arena of spirituality. It is not, before that he was not such a spiritual man, but coming in contact of Dr. Hahnemann, his philosophical idea grew, developed with the Dr. Hahnemannian concepts. So this is a great difference that you can see between the Kent and the, you can see the Lippe repertory. In the Lippe repertory also, there are some wider rubrics related to the mind, but not as much as that of the Kent, and not as much smaller than the Bonny-Hussens. So it is immediately after the Bonny-Hussens publications, Lippe repertory took place, where he added, and it also became very popular. Lippe repertory was followed by the Bonny-Hussens therapeutic books, and it became very popular among the practitioners now, because it is now becoming more closer to see the mind and the body physical symptoms together. He tried to make it inter. Now coming into the subsequent era of the Kent, he gave wide chapter of the mind. Then coming to the next generation of the repertory, you see that there is further by Barthel and Plenker. He has one volume only for the mind, and it is based on the Bonny-Hussens philosophy. Barthel and Plenker repertory has got the basic conception of the Bonny-Hussens. So, and that's why, according to the Bonny-Hussens therapeutic, Barthel and Plenker, he has got the repertory is available in 3 books, 3 volumes. First volume is mind, second volume is physical, and third volume is sex and the dreams. So dividing the whole of the life into mind, general, and sex and the sleep was the primary concept that was there in the Boniface, which has been expanded in the therapeutic Barthel and Kulenker's repertory. So this is the evolutionary phase, and repertory has to develop in it has to evolve in evolution. So evolution of the repertory is important. Evolution of the repertory is important, and this is it is ever growing subject, and more it is coming very much closer to our clinical practice also. So use of the repertory is becoming essential for the practice of and true practice of the classical homeopathy. People used to say classical homeopathy is different and other homeopathy is different. No, homeopathy is only classical. Classical means following the instructions of the master, keeping the mind of the master into the forefront and then making additions. This is called the classical aspect. So classical features are very important for our life. We have to keep on ourselves to be fixed at the classical and basic fundamental features of the philosophy of homeopathy, the stalwarts, from where it originated, Hahnemann. And everything that has been given by the Hahnemann, it cannot be denied or cannot be made controversial. Whatever is there in the organ and medicines is just a universal truth, and which has to be accepted for making the medicines a subject of the human beings. Medicines is not a subject for the diseased persons. Medicines is a subject for the medicines for the human beings. And until you understand the humanity, until you understand the human life, you may not be able to understand the homeopathy. So understanding, and then only you can have the applied aspect. What are the medicines? Medicines are simply the applied aspects. So giving the applications of the problem, solving the problems, you have to use the applied aspect on the person who is sick, who is not feeling well. He may have any other problem, but he is not well. So very much sincerity and conscientiousness is required for the practice of homeopathy. Very much conscientious nature is required. And with this conscientious nature only, becoming very sensitive to the human life, you have to come to the patients very closely. You have to observe them very closely, because without observation, because devoting some time with the patient, you may not be able to understand or explore into the depth of the problem. So living with the patient, you have to learn how much to live with the patient, how much to dedicate with the patient, and how much to interrogate with the patient, how much to arrive at the different aspect phenomena of the patient's life. He is not the person who has just evolved and seated before you. He is the person seated before you has got his past, and on the past the present is created. On the past the present is created, and this past is important building factor for that man, important building factor for the coming up of the problems into the life. So until you have the understanding about the past and understanding about the life, you may not be able to understand the Hahnemannian philosophy or the homeopathic concept. Practicing medicines and practicing homeopathy seems to be quite different in the present context of the practice with the several other system of medicines. So whereas when you think about the homeopathic practice, it simply means a dedicated understanding of the patient, and this important thoughts needs much more nurturing into our mind. When you have adopted and you have took the homeopathy as your professional life, and you have to live with it. You have to understand with it. We have to do everything with it. Only in the context. A professional life means is a dedicated life towards the things what he is doing. Dedications toward the principles. And Dr. Hahnemann has, in his very first file, the mission of the physicians, as it is termed. As it is termed, this is important word. Mission of the physician is as it is. That means the mission of the physician is to become more professional for the practice of the medicines. We have to work on a definitive principle. Don't have to go on wandering here and there and making some false recognitions, listening to others, and then applying to the patient. This is just a type of the things that seems to be very ignorant about the mind, ignorant about the persons, ignorant about the problem. So sitting with the problem, you can understand the problem, and without going into the depth, you cannot understand with the problems. So friend, it is very useful. Sincerity towards the practice of medicine is required. And when you see the repertorial approach, it is a wonderful introduction into the homeopathy. Because with the repertory, it is not possible for us to practice homeopathy. I have observed and seen from my childhood, and as being born in a homeopathic family, my first attractions was for the repertory, because it was being practiced with my father. Later on, I was playing with the repertory. Thereafter, I was tearing the pages of the repertory, and thereafter, I started using the pages of the repertory, making use of the pages. So this is my personal involvement with the repertory. This is the way that I was. First was fascinated with the thickness of the book. Later on, I was trying to find out something for myself. Later on, I understood that what is there for me. What is there for me? And for me, I require the philosophy of Dr. Hahnemann to be realized in practice among the patient, to the patient in the patient. So friends, I am giving you these thoughts, and I am trying to inspire your mind towards the conceptions of our master and fundamental personalities like Hahnemann, Bonny-Gessenes, and Kant, and other philosophers who had made a great contribution in making this science more and more closer to us, and it's still going on. So what is your contribution? What you are going to contribute? You have to realize, you have to show to your patient and show to the society that homeopathy works in this direction only. And this is the reality of the homeopathy. And until and unless you have the mixed idea about the homeopathy, confused idea about the homeopathy in the context of the modern medicines, you will never become a homeopathic practitioner. Mind it, I will say that never become a homeopathic. You have to concentrate, you have to get absorbed into the homeopathic principles. You have to make a fundamental principle for your life to practice the Hahnemannian homeopathy. So, because Hahnemann was the fundamental person who introduced homeopathy as a system of medicines, it becomes essential for us not to ignore any of his words, comma, full stop. I think I'm able to give some inputs about the importance. I'm able to give some thoughts about the homeopathy and thoughts about the applicability of the repertory. Where you can find, what you can find the approach with the Bonny-Gessenes, and you can find the mind with the Bonny-Gessenes. Kant. So from approach to the practical visualizations through the Kent. It is not that the Kent has got the differences with the Bonifacius. People who used to criticize Bonifacius that he had not incorporated the mind, and used to criticize Kent because he had made such a complicated work by adding the mind. So both people are being criticized, but they have done and contributed for the practice of the medicine. This is great phenomena for the homeopathy, and it is the mercy of the God, the blessing of the God that they entered into the homeopathy to make it a practical system of the medicine. Realizations of the Dr. Hahnemann's dream, and we must have the under realizations of that dream in our own life. We also want to become a good practitioners. We also have got the ambitions to be the great philosopher. Everything, it is there, but you have to nurture, you have to explore, you have to find it out. This is the important things that you need to do for your life. My friends, keep on in relation with the repertory for every patient that they are coming to your clinic. Don't try to escape and have a shortcut method for the repertory. You must have the long cut, because shortcut methods are always very dangerous, and you may not be able to arrive at the right medicine. Sometimes it may be the right, sometimes it may be the wrong. Sometimes it is needed, shortcut method is needed, and sometimes it is not needed. Sometimes it has got you have to the situation, circumstances in the injury. You are not getting any symptoms. You are going for the shortcut method. But the post effect of the injury requires the understanding of the person as a whole. The constitutional effect of the patient on because of the injury requires the completeness of the symptoms as a whole. So both ways it is useful to enter and to expand and to arrive at the righter aspect of the medicine. So friends, I think I have tried to I have tried to impress you upon the importance. I have tried to impress upon the difference and understanding of the Bonifacius. I have a high regard for Dr. Bonifacius, because he was the person who has influenced and who has changed the way the homeopathic medicines is being practiced. He was just the person who had made a very better thoughts about the repertory. And this introductions repertory is a bridge between the philosophy and applicability. So with these thoughts, I think I have come to an end of my today's thoughts. I will keep coming with further thoughts in future also. And with this idea, I hope you will be able to nurture more about the homeopathic philosophy, and especially the repertory. It is not the repertory, all repertory are different. They are the extension part from one evolution part from one aspect to the another aspect. So this is evolutionary aspect. So which is great repertory? No, I say every repertory is great. Every repertory is important, and they have got their own limitations. They have got own understandings, own features. So go into the details of each repertory and then try to understand the principle behind that repertory, and then only you can make a better use of that particular rubrics. So friends, I thank you very much for having a nice presentation. I am satisfied with what I have spoke, and I hope you may feel it better for your life. If you have any criticism against me, I welcome them. If you want to criticize me, it is very useful, because criticism are the way to correct oneself, and me also. I also need corrections in my understanding. So remain open to criticize, and don't fear that I will uh, I will scold you or say something to you. But definitely I will welcome every criticism, every criticism. So persons, you keep listening to this type of the lectures and keep asking something. You can ask me through my WhatsApp number 9431020622, or you can give me an email at the risdth@gmail.com. So I'm very easily available. I'll be replying to all of them. You can also have any more questions on the telephonic conversations also. So thank you, friends. I'm just closing this session for today, but I will keep coming with you and to give you my inspirations for you. So thank you. With this word, I have come to an end. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah.